our legacy, I think, would be quite varied in the sense that I think we have very creative women who have followed their passion and brought about a better good.
Part of the promise that was given to us when we made our promise, that if you give up everything, you will be rewarded 100-fold, and some of that can be in this life. Of course, we all hope for it in the next.
I don't think I've been an outstanding member of the congregation, but I think I have contributed my share.
We're planted in this Rochester community. So what does Rochester need from us?
May you always be with God, wherever you may be.
Right now we have about 120 who live here. That's in healthcare and retirement. But totally we are about 240 sisters.
I've done things I wouldn't have done, I'm sure, had I not joined the congregation.
240 voices move along pretty well together.
Maybe I'm a little prejudiced, but we've always been kind of a front runner among the congregations. I would say that we've made wonderful contributions in both education and in health work. And then there have been some other sorts of things, like all the justice work that we've done since the 70s. We've taught an awful lot of people, nurses, college kids. They're carrying on the work in many ways. Of course, they'll die out too, I suppose, eventually, but that's life and death and life again.
Today I introduce you to Mother Alfred, who is the foundress of our congregation. Mother Alfred came to Minnesota with her sister Barbara. They came from Remick in Luxembourg, and their intent in coming to the United States was to teach Native American girls. And the first mother house was downtown in Rochester, Minnesota, and here we have an architect's drawing of the original mother house down on Center Street. That was in 1877. In 1883, there was a tornado in this city, which did an awful lot of destruction to the city.
The number that were killed it's in flux too. They didn't really know, but more than 30 at least were killed. All kinds of people were injured. And Dr. W.W. Mayo, who was not Catholic, and Mother Alfred, who was, he sent word to her and asked if the ladies could help take care of the sick. And it happened to be August. The academy had dormitories. The girls weren't there. So they brought people that were not so severely injured to our mother house. And the sisters nursed them. And Mother Alfred sent some of the sisters out with food and clothing to help the families that had lost everything. And then she started thinking, apparently, or maybe she never stopped. Anyway, she approached Dr. W.W. one day and suggested that Rochester needed a hospital. And he supposedly said, "Madam, what would Rochester want with a hospital?" And she finally, after bringing in his sons, he had 2 sons who became doctors, she said, "If we don't have a hospital in Rochester for your sons, they will go elsewhere, where there is one." And so then he came up with the idea that it cost too much. He said, well, it would cost maybe $40,000. Can you manage that? And she said, yes, and more if it's needed. And so he finally agreed that he would draw up the plans with his sons, and we would build the building, and we'd have this joint venture.
And so St. Mary's 27-bed hospital was built in 1889, and that was the beginning of St. Mary's here in Rochester. The years of 42 to 64 were years of expansion for the congregation. It was during that time that a lot of young women came to the congregation. And so the building downtown seemed to be too small for the expansion, and so then God bless the women in administration. They purchased this property on the hill. And then this building was built, and so here we have the laying of the cornerstone in 1953, which was the beginning of Assisi Heights.
There's a great variety of people that come through to be around, and we also rent space in the building.
The ELCA of Southeastern Minnesota has had an office here since 1985. It was also a meeting place for the Quakers and for the Mennonites, the Methodists. The Presbyterians had their church service here in our auditorium for 8 years. Many different groups, like your AA groups, would meet here.
The Civil Defense unit here at Assisi Heights had at least 1 or 2 operating rooms and 1,000 beds side by side of persons who might, if there was some kind of nuclear attack that would happen in either Red Wing or Minneapolis area, that this is where people would come to stay.
IBM held their first offices here in our building during the period of time that they were looking for space to build their plant.
One of the things that they discovered when they were here is that we didn't have any clocks in the building. So we had IBM clocks for a long, long time. We still have a few around. We are a rural community. The city of Rochester has grown up around us. And so I think some of these people come here to get refreshed again, to have a new spin on what's happening in their own life. So peace and quiet is one of the things that we offer here, and people come for that alone. And we've done that since the very beginning of the building.